know. But anyways, I think for like every school I applied to, I just like picked a different major. Like one was communications, one was like finance. Anyways, so I tried college for a little while, just wasn't into it, obviously. Came home, at which point I said, I think I'm ready to try culinary school.
Right.
And then I went to CIA.
Gotcha. How'd you decide on CIA from all the culinary schools?
Well, okay, so to prove that I was actually into this at this point, because when I did go to college, I didn't actually withdraw in time, so I think my dad got stuck with that bill.
Oh!
So they actually called him and said, is your daughter here? I don't think she's attending classes.
Yeah.
And yeah, he came and got me. So
big scene.
Yeah, so I actually spent some time at a community college nearby my parents' house. In Schenectady, and did the culinary program there just to see if like I really liked it and I was willing to commit, and I loved it. I actually, again, just really enjoyed going there and making Monte Crisco's.
Yeah.
Crisco's, what are they called?
Monte Crisco's.
I remember that day for some reason.
Is that the
though.
cornflake fried sandwich?
No, I don't know.
Monte Crisco's?
Yeah.
They're like French toast sandwiches with like jam.
I can't forget that day for some reason.
But aren't they fried? Like the whole thing's
Pan-fried.
deep fried.
Oh, maybe, yeah, that sounds familiar.
I thought it was like breaded and fried. That's what I thought it was. I might be
can't
taking it to a
recall.
whole new level of Monte
No, I
Cristo.
think I've seen both. I think there's deep fried and pan fried.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Because I remember there used to be a variation that it was breaded in cornflakes, and that was like the ultimate.
Yeah,
Monte
that's
Cristo.
that.
That was actually
yeah.
the Count of Monte Cristo. That was the thing. Monte Crisco.
Yeah, so anyways, I showed my interest. Apparently really liked it there, and then I transferred to CIA.
Gotcha.
CIA Hyde
So
Park.
you're at CIA, Hyde
Yeah.
Park. How do you like that?
I loved it. Again,
Yeah.
I had a really fun time. I became friends with people that I never expected to befriend.
Yeah.
But we all just had like the common interest of food
Yeah.
and wine and hanging out, and I lived on campus, and I really liked it.
Where'd you do your internship?
Melisse in
Okay.
Santa Monica.
Now, how did you pick that all the way to Santa Monica from New York?
This is going to sound terrible. This is a weird way to make a decision. But
Yes.
again, my brother lived in LA, and he's like, yeah, come to LA. I'll give you a car to use.
Yeah.
And all that. I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, I'll go to LA. So then I started looking at restaurants in LA, and I wanted a nice one, a fancy one. You know, that was back in the day when Michelin was still here. I mean, I know Michelin is back now, but they haven't been for quite some time.
Gotcha.
So it was a 2-star. 2 Michelin stars.
Yeah.
And I sent my resume, I think, and then did like a phone interview, and then I just showed up.
And they hired you straight away.
As an extern. I mean, back in the day, you didn't need to pay externs.
Got you.
I
So
worked
you were
for
free labor.
free.
Okay.
This was a while ago.
And what year was this? You're probably going to date yourself with this one.
2004?
2004.
I
Okay.
think.
So you're at Melisse.
Maybe a little earlier.
First
sometime
professional
around that.
restaurant that you're working at.
Yeah, and I walked in with my toque on. Super embarrassing. Super fucking embarrassing.
Chef, no.
It's the CIA uniform.
Yeah,
and you're
but
supposed
Chef,
to represent the school and look nice. So I wore my.
You
Why
walked
are
through
laughing?
Santa Monica
I
with
followed
your
directions
with your
okay?
toque on.
I did.
So you show up,
And they were like, "Please take that off."
Yeah, they're like-
and I think he literally, it's Brandon, Chef Brendan. He's still around.
Yeah, Randy Collins,
Yeah, Brendan Collins.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of stuff in LA.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Take that off and don't ever wear it again."
Yeah.
Where you could put it.
They're like, yeah, you can put that in your bag now. That's I was. You guys remember Nephi Craig?
Of course.
I interviewed him and his at the reservation, and he told me this story of when he went to go work at this fine dining hotel. He like brought his knife toolbox with him.
Yeah.
And like the guy basically took his knife out, his paring knife, his peeler, and then threw the whole the toolbox in the trash. And he's like, "What the fuck?"
Well, those things are bad. Some people at school used to use like the
Yeah, I
wheelie
had the
briefcase.
wheelie,
You
like-
did?
Yeah,
Then
that's
why
what
are
they
you
do.
laughing at me? I never had a wheelie briefcase.
Yeah.
Ever.
I sure did.
I carried my
I-
knife
That all
with
sorts
my
of shit.
token.
You also had a fanny
had a
pack
cutting
too.
board in
You
there.
probably had a fanny pack. That's funny. All right. So, where the hell were we? Oh, You're at Me.She.
Yeah.
Your internship lasts for how long? Was it 6 months?
That sounds right. I
Yeah.
think so.
Did you have
Yeah.
to come back to finish school?
Yeah, and then you go back to CIA and you work in the restaurants. and
Got you.
finish.
And what did being at Me.She for that time teach you? Like what stations did you work?
A lot. So I was kind of the assistant on. What station? The soup station.
Soups.
It was pretty much a soup station. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Salad, soups, the caviar egg.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so there was a chef de partie, and I was kind of her assistant the whole time. And I learned a lot. It was a huge, culture shock. And I was out of my element. I may have cried a couple times. But all in all, I mean, I remember one of my classmates, Reo, he was a kid from Japan.
Yeah.
When I got back, he's like, wow, you're really better. I'm like, okay. Well, some of my friends,
You got so much better.
hey.
I've been watching you.
Yeah.
You
God.
sucked before.
Well, I think some people went on easier externships.
Gotcha,
I actually
yeah.
got
No,
my
I
ass
get
kicked
everything.
in an
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah, I went to the
French
Radisson
restaurant.
Airport Hotel. I didn't do
Well,
shit
my
there.
roommate, for example, was skiing in Aspen and having time of his life.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the ski instructors and cooking a little bit. And I was miserable.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
tired and getting my ass kicked.
and being like, am I sure this is what I want to do?
Yeah. I was like, what the
Yeah. This isn't like school.
Yeah.
They told me.
Yeah.
So you go back to school, you finish, and then what's your next move after you finish school?
I wanted to get my bachelor's degree because I was still holding on to that, that education. So I transferred to UNLV and I moved
Gotcha.
to Las Vegas.
Okay. So Las Vegas. Are you working at that time?
No, I was just going to school, hospitality management. Again, not very good at school.
Yeah.
Stopped going.
Heard
Withdrew
that.
at a ridiculous time, late time, and then I'm like, fuck, again, I think I need to get a job.
Heard.
So I applied and I was part of the opening team as a cook at one of the restaurants in the Venetian.
Okay. Got you. How'd you get that job? Just trying to go around
I don't
getting
know. I
jobs?
think I saw an ad.
An ad or
online.
something?
They were
Okay,
having
got you.
some big fair, and I showed up. And,
Yeah. Heard that. After they opened that restaurant, did you stay there for a while?
I did. I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was B&B. I think it's still there in
Yeah.
the Venetian. B&B. It's they do the pasta tasting menu.
Yeah.
Same as Babbo in New York.
Okay.
So I got to see things I'd never seen before. I'd come from doing an externship in California and saw a lot of farmers market California driven food, and then this was authentic Italian, i.e. New York, style. So I learned a lot. Yeah.
Got you. What made you want to leave there?
There were some friends opening another restaurant, someone who was a sous chef somewhere, I think, was going to become a chef. And so, just looking for a change. Mm-hmm. As a cook, you want to see as much as you can.
Exactly.
So I don't think you ever plan on staying anywhere super long. I think, in my head, someone had told me somewhere along the lines, you should stay a year.
Yeah.
Pick up everything you can learn in a year. After a year, you're not going to, if you didn't get it by then, you're not going to. And move on.
So you adopted that school of learning.
I did.
You moved around to a couple restaurants. How
Yeah.
many restaurants total did you work at while you were in Vegas?
In Las Vegas, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
What was the most significant out of those for you?
I'd say B&B. I had a really good time there.
Yeah.
There was a guy, a more experienced cook. He was pretty much a sous chef, and he taught me a lot. It was the first time I ever worked a grill station.
Okay.
Or worked with huge proteins like that.
Yeah.
And he was super patient with me and a really good teacher. So it was a good experience.
Heard that. And then I'm sure at some point it's time to leave Vegas, right?
Yes, it was definitely time to leave Vegas.
What's your first choice after that?
I came back to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, same thing, your brother?
Well, I came back to LA. I was living in Hollywood, just kind of going on some interviews. I actually was going on an interview at Rustic Canyon, and this is before Jeremy Fox was there.
Okay. Ivan Funky was there then.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Gotcha.
I was so young, but yeah. And Meadowood is across the street. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to park in the Meadowood parking lot. And I saw the valet guy, and I remembered him, Teo, from my externship. I'm like, hey, Teo, can I park here? But, he let me park there, and he's like, you should come say hello to Josiah. So I said hello. And then I was like, you know what? This is on my resume. Like, maybe I should, reconnect. So Josiah's like, come hang out in stage. I'm like, sure. I have him as a reference, I think.
Yeah.
And then I ended up working there and staying there for another couple of years.
Heard. And then that's when you met
And
John.
that's where I met John.
John Hong, who is now your husband.
Right.
Yep.
Baby daddy.
Baby daddy husband.
Right.
All right, let's do some Quentin Tarantino shit. Now we're going back to Chef John. Chef John, where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, Illinois.
Dope.
Yeah.
And your parents had obviously lived there before you were born for
Sure.
a long time?
They had probably been there for about 5 years.
5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Got you. So what was your upbringing like there? What was eating like? when you were a young kid?
So yeah, I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, Highland Park, which was predominantly kind of Jewish, more of an affluent neighborhood.
Yeah.
Growing up, food-wise, was very, very immigrant. It was very Korean, working-class Korean, so it was, rice and soups and kimchi and all the kind of traditional home Korean food.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you guys have a plethora of dishes and just things in your cuisine. In Puerto Rico, not to talk shit, but it's 20 things. Right? So but do you guys see a reoccurring dishes every night?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think
Yeah.
in the home, you always see reoccurring. There's always kimchi.
Yeah.
There's always you're cooking. Korean food is definitely a very humble kind of poor people food. So
Yeah.
everything's pickled, everything's preserved. You're pickling, preserving things in batches, and you're mostly just preparing to eat those things with rice, depending on how life's going.
Yeah.
Meats are extra special. Even when my mom was growing up, eggs were special for her. So I'd always ask her why she'd be cooking me so many goddamn eggs. And
Yeah.
that is why.
'Cause she's
That is
like,
why.
my son, I'm
Right.
trying to give you what I didn't
Exactly.
have.
Exactly.
It's just so many
Exactly.
eggs.
Exactly.
That's funny. All right. So did you know you had an interest in cooking early, or did you help out, or were you more so
the
eating?
only thing I really helped out with as a kid was smashing garlic. I think all Korean households have a specific way of treating their garlic.
Yeah.
It's peeled, and then it's like a mortar and pestle situation where you just smash it until it's like this grated paste.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other cultures really do it like that.
Yeah.
But I would help with that. I was always interested in food. I think all Koreans hold food at a pretty high regard.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of culture and life. I always had a bunch of family members living with us when we grew up, so being able to kind of see everyone else's variation on food was interesting to me. I think my oldest aunt on my dad's side was a really good cook. I think everyone on my dad's side was very into food. So
Yeah.
you got a lot of inspiration for all of them, and they'd always kind of cook for you, and that was their way of expressing admiration and love, and I accepted it.
Yeah, I hear you. Did you have any interest in high school? Were you playing sports or anything like that?
Kind of. I mean, I was a little lost in high school and still
Yeah.
kind of finding myself. I loved basketball. I guess I was too cool
Yeah,
to play
yeah.
organized
To play in
basketball.
school, yeah.
And then as I get older, I'm like, oh, I'm just not good enough. And
Yeah.
it became that. Interest-wise, it's weird. I just kind of floated around. I was trying to find things that stuck. Obviously,
Yeah.
you have good friends and you're doing all that. But no, I was actually, I'm sorry, I was a competitive gymnast as well.
Okay.
Not with those
Wait, I forgot. No, I was a competitive gymnast. No, I was not. No, I was just, I was trying to find myself.
Just
I was still
chilling.
yeah.
And then when did that sort of interest spark in you? Okay, well, maybe I can cook
As far as cooking, I was always, towards that age, I was always pretty obsessed with the Food Network. You know, I think all of us are from that generation of
Yeah.
the Emerald, the Mario Batali, the Bobby Flays. And my friends would always find it weird, like, it'd be, you know,